And basic training it's not physically hard at all. And like, no, I mean, for the most part, like 90% of people make it through basic training, but it was hard from the standpoint that like, it's not what PJ training is. It's not like every day you're going to bed and you're like, wow, I was really like challenged and feel like, I was tested and proved myself. And like, it was more like you're marching around, you're folding clothes, you're doing kind of like a lot of stupid stuff it's like necessary. It's a part of that indoctrination into like, you're not an individual anymore. Like you're a part of this collective thing, or we're going to break down your identity. And like, we're going to make you an Air Force person and not Doug, the civilian. But there's a lot of like games and kind of like bullshit that you have to go through in basic training. So in some ways that was like, it wasn't the hardest physically by any means, but you have to kind of like sort of shut your brain off in some ways and just like sort of play the game and shut up in color and recognize like it's a game, and no matter what you do, you're going to get yelled at.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pick up your suitcase, put it down, march. And, it's like, if you're like, well, what does marching have to do with what I'm going to be doing as a PJ? Yes, like indirectly it teaches you attention to detail and following procedure, but you could also just like actually practice the procedure for the thing and get good at that. But, you're taking these people who are going to all these different jobs and trying to kind of create the same curriculum. I think basic training has probably even changed a little bit since I was there. They're always trying to make it better, but it's still fundamentally going to be pretty similar to what I did. So in a lot of ways, like that was like, it was hard because I'm like, all right, like I'm chomping at the bit to do this other thing. And it wasn't that physically taxing. I had to like at
Doug,
night.
how long is basic training for the Air Force? Is it 8 weeks? Marine Corps is 12 weeks, right?
It was 6 when I did it. Now I think it's like an extra couple of weeks, maybe like 8 to 9.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm doing like push-ups at night in my room. I'm like holding my breath and walking around the dorm, doing flutter kicks, holding my breath, because I had built up so much fitness before I went there. And now I've got 6 weeks of basic training where I'm doing the same thing as the person who's not going to be in a physically demanding job. So, trying to maintain my fitness was a little bit of a challenge. But from there, then you go to what at the time was called the indoctrination course. And the name of that has changed and the format's changed a little bit, but that's fundamentally like the selection course where they're trying to, so it's not really training as much as selection and weeding people out and picking the people that are going to have the sort of the physical and team and cognitive and psychological makeup to then do the follow-on training where you're actually like learning how to be a PJ. And that was I think like maybe 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks. And that's, because people don't know what pararescue training is. That's very similar to like what you would see at like Bud's training, SEAL training on the Discovery Channel. It's a lot of just basically endless physical activity, breath holding, being uncomfortable, some sleep deprivation. And every selection course, whether it's like Buds or PJ training or, Ranger School, they have their own like things that uniquely suck about it, but they all just kind of like suck in different ways. And there's a lot of commonalities. And so for us, I would say the thing that was like the worst was just all the underwater stuff. Not that other programs don't have that, but ours had it. That was like what they really,
Dude, I've seen that. We were just talking about this last week. I don't think we've dropped the episode yet. I sat down for the first time in decades and watched that famous Discovery Channel documentary on Bud's Class 234.
Yeah.
Was on Discovery all the time back when I was a kid.
Yeah, epic. I remember seeing that like when I was in college.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm looking at this and I'm like, not to sound like an asshole, I'm like, I think I could have done a lot of the stuff when I was in my 20s, except the underwater stuff.
Yeah.
That's what gave me like the biggest freak out. Like, I mean, I think I had the potential to be run into the ground, picking up a log, but the mental fortitude to stay calm underwater, that's like, I feel like you either have that or you don't. That's very challenging to me.
You do, I mean, to a degree, like it's trainable.